redundancy. I love the sound of these words, like redundance, like you're going down the stairs, isn't it? It's this bang, bang, bang. And redundancy, you've just slipped the last step, you've flown, you're gone. So I don't know what's in the future for me, who knows, we'll wait and see. Stepping or slipping. As Ross said, I've been here for 6 months and slowly it's starting to sink in. Usually I would have said, oh, I'm so sorry I'm sick today. Yeah, you'll have to make allowances for me. But I'm not, what am I going to say? I'm going to get extra marks today. Hang it all I know. Extra marks, because I feel like absolute rubbish. So I'll be looking at my notes probably more than I'd like to, but anyway, there you go. So extra marks for Colleen. I live in Minto, home of the Chainsaw Massacre. Did you hear about that? Why would you want to live in Minto? I've been asked many times. Well, because it's in my budget. I can afford it. How far away was that 5 from you? You know, my friends leered at me. One of my friends, laughing, looked it up on Google Maps. I could walk there in less than 5 minutes. Too close for comfort. This whole vacation started one cold wintry night. Early May actually, so pre-winter. And I started playing music too loudly. Who knows what happened next? But it ended with bats, mops, a sword and a chainsaw. One guy's arm was almost completely removed. Nicole Thornton was interviewed by the Sydney Morning Herald a couple of days later. Her chainsaw-wielding brother had lost a finger. She was devastated. It's not being sewn back on, so sucked into that guy that got his arm chopped. I'd like to put the T back into Minto, or at least explain where it went. Minto is the suburb of Campbelltown City Council, and Campbelltown has the largest percentage of public housing in the Sydney Basin. Minto's public housing started in the early 70s and was based on the Radburn estate principles. And basically the concept was to reverse the front and backyards. So the backyards faced into an beautiful English-style common green. It was first developed in New Jersey in the USA in 1929, and it was a response to the motor age. It was meant to separate pedestrian movements from these new inventions called motor vehicles, and it was also meant to reduce energy cost. So basically the design was a series of cul-de-sacs where all the housing was built around, with pedestrian laneways that came in and allowed access without coming in contact with cars. Transplanted from middle-class America to low employment, low income Australian suburbs, it was a disaster. It ghettoised communities and crime levels skyrocketed. Philip Cox, a leading Australian architect, was responsible for introducing this design to Australian suburbs. In 1998, he was quoted as saying, "Anything that could go wrong in society went wrong. It became the centre for drugs and violence. Police refused to go into that suburb. It was hell." When I moved into Minto, the authorities had decided that the best solution to this disaster was to knock it down and start again. 700 homes were earmarked for destruction. That, with a package of Lancome acreage, was our new start. Mile after mile of houses were gone, replaced with this new urban utopia. Private dwellings were in the majority, with some public housing sprinkled through, meant to be indistinguishable from the street. They call it the Australian dream, don't they? A house on a quarter-acre block. I went up to have a look at the display homes. And they're smooth and slick and sparkling. But when you look at the size of the land that surrounds the home, they are tiny. There's not enough room for kids to play. How big a dog can you have in a yard that size? And in the western suburbs, where it's hotter, have you got enough room to build a pool? Not likely. I lived in a series of cul-de-sacs. My house wasn't built on the Radburn principles, but that cul-de-sac principle was still there. All the kids used to play in the streets, cricket and football, all day. They've now made it a through road. I thought this was going to be lost, but the kids have adapted. They go out and play, they build cubby houses in the roundabout, and they're still doing it. This suburb has changed. The new concept, sorry, I've forgotten the big thing. As the suburb has changed, the principles of how they built these houses on tiny packages have changed as well. I walked into my backyard one night and saw my next door neighbour's house being newly constructed, looming well over the top of my fence. And when I called the council, they called it a box on a block. And it's the government's response to affordable housing. It's how we all can live now. And with that concept, they've brought other things. So we have waterways are not cemented in, they're now rain gardens, so it's rocks and plantings. We've got ducks. The sun shines out at Minto now. So this is where I live. I love Minto, I like where I live. But they've gone from one design experiment to another. So what are they going to be saying in 10 years' time? I think if the kids can still get out and play and their parents have a job, that doesn't matter. My Minto has a team. Thank you. And we all know each other until so you went over 8 minutes 34, but it was all valuable stuff, wasn't it? We can all use that, so excellent to hear that. And the evaluators go over as well because they want to give us that constructive criticism and, you know, get us on the path to speaking better, so they're the ones that go over. I was thinking, just, I'm up here now, I might as well talk, you know, get totally off track. Robert's bags. And he started by saying the red bag had really difficult things in it. And Ken, being so used to speaking, could come and pick from the difficult bag. And the white bag might have had more common things in it. So who picked from the red bag and who picked from the white bag? So really, how much does it say about you as a person, what colour bag you pick from? But I reckon I know what your day job is now. You're the guy from the collectors that gets those weird things and says, right, tell me what this is.